Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frappes and Frequency, a space for us to slow down, tune in, and reflect on the collective pulse, one sip, one shift at a time. So, before we start, let's arrive here together. My nose is semi blocked at the moment, so I'm sucking on a lozenge to help with that. But yeah, let's just take a moment to arrive here together, to breathe, to pause, if you will, and just take a moment for ourselves. I mean, how often do we just take moments and not necessarily think in that space or reflect, but just be? Just be who we innately are. And I'll tell you one thing, we're not the mind, we're not the thoughts, we're not the ego. So it's just pure presence. Okay, so in your own time, if you want to take some deep breaths, if you want to get comfortable in your seat, bringing awareness to the body and its comfort. If you're sitting up, feet on the ground, connecting to earth, whatever it is that brings you into the now moment. So as I said before, just being aware of where the body's at in relation to space, time. Are you leaning forward? Are you leaning back? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Are you feeling super cozy? Not necessarily to fix it, but just bringing awareness to it. And bringing your attention slowly back to the screen. If your eyes are closed, obviously if you're driving, it's not happening. Or if you're listening, if this does go to podcast, then bringing awareness back to however you are allowing this transmission to come through. So I do apologize about the blocked nose. It is wildly irritating for me personally. So I can only imagine you listening to me snort and whatnot. So again, do apologize, but I do want to make a commitment to show up once a week or every week. And I'm showing up as is with my snotty nose and everything. So the energy that I'm really curious. I'll be honest. I'll be curious to see what happens through the space in the next 45 minutes to an hour, because I beg your pardon. What came through the writing was really interesting. To say the least. I'll say not confusing, but bizarre. And I'm only saying that because of the types of words that were coming through. I'm just going to blow my nose for a tick. I'm so sorry. And if I pause this, obviously it doesn't work that way. So maybe I should have just recorded this live. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, some interesting words came through. Not words that I would usually use in the daily life. So anyway, I'm going to get cracking. I did feel I see a visualization of the deck to use to start off with, to kick things off anyway. So let's get into it. What I will say, it's just a couple of, and I'm just showing you the cards that I'm seeing. Deep knowing, And it's interesting because I kind of saw this face, which is why I went with this deck. If you're familiar with this deck, and I'm seeing chopped wood, but that was already turned around. It didn't flip over. As I was saying, what's interesting about this deck is that there are a lot of like hidden faces within the deck. So every card you go to, there is like a hidden face. So that might be a message in and of itself. These hidden faces, these visible but not visible forms, entities, whatever you want to, however you want to phrase that. The deck is shuffling something odd as well. What is going on with the shuffling? Go. What I will say about the messages that have come out is that it'll be interesting to see what comes through the cards. There's an energy of either someone who is coming into their sensuality or sexuality or discovering that, or an individual who's hypersexualized. Yeah, these are the types of things that have been coming through the writing. So if it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If it's not yours. But you know, if you were drawn here for some other reason, then you're drawn here. Even if it doesn't make sense now, it might make sense later. So perhaps bookmark it, save it, or whatever. That is a lot. Bottom of the deck, we've got Treasure Island, which is, I'm going to say interesting. I know I use that word a lot, but we also have Message in a Bottle. You see the similarity in these cards. And before I did see Go the Distance as well. Maybe there's still this energy of the last check-in, or maybe it's relating to the use in some way, shape or form, because the last post we spoke about communication, messages, incoming messages and communication. But we do have the happy card, and generally, I mean, it's quite self-explanatory, right? But it did show up in the reverse, and so there may be an energy of just not being content in current energy. There's something amiss. There's something that's not feeling quite whole. I'm not going to say that there's a state of depression or anything like that. But if that does resonate with you, then so be it. I'm not feeling it physically, but this could be a state where things are not clicking. Things are not, I guess, showing up in a way that's either not desired or not expected. And for those that have been in this space for a while, or have been following me from wherever, you know how I feel about expectations, like, and quote unquote manifestation. So there is somewhat of an energy of receiving something, or either being gifted something, or receiving a message of sorts, or perhaps this is an energy of wanting to receive, as in you're waiting for something. Are you waiting for something? Are you waiting for a message, or some kind of incoming information? And it's quote unquote not arrived yet, and this is why perhaps there's this feeling of discontentment, of disappointment even, or there's some type of delay. And my go-to and tone and theme of this, whatever you want to call it, this channel, this podcast, if you're listening to it on the podcast, is always being in the now. If you're in the now, you're in the now, period. You're in presence, period. You're not desiring these objects, these material things. You're just being in a deep state of presence and gratitude. Not to say that any of those things are bad or wrong. I don't, everyone has their own perspective and filter of how they interact with life. So sorry. Not sorry, right? It is what it is. And maybe someone out there is unwell as well, let me just say, or nasally, or what is that relating to? I'm hearing the phrase not smelling the roses. And I just said that, right? I just said there may be this lack of gratitude for where you are now, or what is presenting itself in your life right now. Because typically as human beings, we tend to always want. We always want more than what we have. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but being mindful of where that comes from, where those desires and those needs come from. Because it doesn't come from self, it comes from ego, it comes from the mind. Just going to say it as it is. Unpopular opinion. Now, I had my coffee but frozen, so yeah, we'll see how we go. It's strange because you know what it's like, right? When you've got a blocked nose and you try to drink through a freaking straw. Or drink, period. It's weird. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let's get a clean tissue shower. Oh, that's probably a better way of doing it, is doing it out of screen, out of, what do you call it, out of frame. Okay. I just want to go back to this happy card. And just get some clarity or just some more information about this. What shall we use? Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm kind of seeing a mishmash of these two decks. They are quite similar in the way they look. So, and the messaging is quite similar as well. So let's give this a go. Getting the hair pulling thing, which doesn't happen all the time, but given the context of what I'm seeing here, it's almost feeling like these thoughts are dragging you along. As in, there's a possibility that this is a process or a spiraling of sorts. And I don't mean spiraling as in crashing out. I mean the thoughts are just endless, or it's pulling you in all different directions. The interesting thing about the message in the bottom card and the Treasure Island card, I'm just wanting a card pack, I think, is the fact that the objects in the ocean are going in separate directions. Like the turtle is swimming to the left, and the bottle is kind of moving towards the right. Just a moment. Just getting this whoosh of energy in the head, which could speak to this foggy, cloggy vibe. And it's interesting because, I mean, the nose is literally clogged. But I did write that down, not the cloggy nose. I wrote, where is it? So, I don't know if I heard the word or saw the word, or I can't remember how it came through, but I heard the word, I'm just going to say I heard the word fools. And then it was like blurry. How did that come through? It was so bizarre. It came through when the writing said they are, well, it was implicating that there are people around you that don't have the best intentions. The word circle came out, and then friends, and then after that fools, and it was the words blurry and blinded came through. Like, and that's kind of how that felt like. It was an element of not seeing something, or there was even confusion about it. And just got the card Starseed, what lights you up, but it did come out in the reverse. And I don't usually speak to the cards in reverse, but sometimes I do mention that. So whatever this current energy is, this disappointment, it's almost like there is a waiting on something to happen, right? Yeah, I mean, the way I'm pulling it anyway, it's feeling like this waiting game of this thing to manifest, based on desire, based on what's lighting you up. If this, whatever this is, has lit you up at one time or another, there's kind of this expectation that it will do so again, or that it's the only thing that can make you happy, right? So just dismissing everything else for a moment, and the messages particularly. Oh, where was that going? I'm hearing a phrase, but it's not complete. It's that waiting for something that never comes, or something to that effect. Yeah, I'm not sure, but what this energy does, what this energy of waiting, quote unquote, waiting does, or this, I don't know why I'm hearing the word dream. That could be a dream for you, like something that you're really wanting and it just has not manifested yet into reality. Where was that going, even? I'm going to hold space for all the moments because there's a reason for that. Sorry, I'm just going to blow my nose again. There's this, what happens when we're waiting for one particular thing to manifest, let's say, is we're missing every other opportunity that comes around that seems, like it could be a potential opportunity for whatever, love, career, money, what have you. When you're waiting for something, it never happens, right? Like, and I say that lightly because Murphy's Law, when you're waiting on something, when you're anticipating something, even messages, for example, it doesn't come. It's, those things happen when you're not waiting. There's that, what I'm hearing that quote, life happens when you're not making plans. I forget who that is. Yeah, life happens when you're not making plans. So this is currently the vibe, is there's this waiting and you're missing other possible avenues or opportunities or things that might be showing up in your space. I've also got Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. And there was a hesitancy there to even show that card for some reason. What's going on with my cards? Yeah, there was some type of hesitancy. So there might be some doubt, some self-doubt. I'm going to leave that there because I think that will kind of unfold as we keep going. Seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Yeah, so it's like being in this space of knowing that there is, how does this want to be said? We're not in control. As simple and as plain as I can put it, we're not in control. We can take action in the now moment, whatever that looks like, but we're not really in control. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Divine plan, right? I do want to read this. I don't believe I've ever pulled that card. To be fair, I haven't used this deck very often. I used to use it in circle. Now why? Oh, this is the one where it's kind of all over the place. Let's see. 96. Okay. Let's see. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She's not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that, devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being, while knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. And it teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. It doesn't have to be on top of the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. So there may be some people that may need to hear this. And others may be to gather women in circle each month. Interesting that that word circle came through as well. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. So yeah, I feel what it's telling us is that we all have our roles to play, right? So, for example, if this is a situation, and I'm getting that feeling, it's turning into a headache now. This is implicating the notion that, well, what I just explained, that there is a divine plan and we all have our roles to play. And there was something else that came with it. Some of these roles are not, how does this want to be said? Like, not permanent. So, for example, we're all these characters in this worldwide show, right? And some of these characters will come into your life and sometimes they will go. Sometimes they'll come and they'll stay, and that's great. But each connection point, each experience with people, there are opportunities to meet yourself or learn more about yourself. So, for example, there's that saying, some people come into your life for a lifetime, a reason, or a season. I might have it the wrong way around, but essentially that's what it is. So some people come into your life and they're there to stay. Some people come and there's a reason why they come, whether it's to learn who you really are, if it's to illuminate something, if it's to shift gears. What was the other one? A season for a period of time, and then they move on, or you move on, or you know, however that plays out. Guys, if you're still here, I'm so sorry, but thank you for being patient with me. Yeah, so if this is a situation where you're waiting on something, where you're, I'll keep that actually for now, where you're just trying to figure out why this hasn't manifested yet, trust that there's a reason for that. As simple and as plainly as I can put it. I will pull from this deck as well. Because what seems to be the part that is creating some type of either mental or physical disturbance is this waiting game, is this message that is not being received or has not been received. Okay, we've got the Seven Star Sisters, which actually did come out in last week's post, so there might be significance to that. Okay, there's something. This is strange because when was that felt? Before today, but before now, there was a connection to water, and I'm seeing it now in 4 different cards. Well, specifically 4 different cards. The others do have water in them, but specifically 4 different cards that all talk about the sea, the water. So what does that represent for you? What does the sea or the ocean represent for you? Is it a place that you can go to ground yourself? What significance does it play in the story? So the Seven Star Sisters talks about birthing creation's tapestry of life expression. I've also got the Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. And Whale and Orca Elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. I'm wondering if in your life at the moment, as you're is this to do with a project? Is this to do with something that you are birthing, or a way that you show up? For example, if you have something to do with music, or like you're a musician or an artist, or you deal with an industry, or even if this is a passion project, something to do with frequency, as in sound, and like using your voice. Which is funny because my voice is all fucked up and my nose is blocked and shit. So yeah, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Whatever this is, and I know you might see this or hear this all the time, but patience is required. And I don't mean that in the sense that we're waiting for something to arrive. I mean, divine timing is at play here, guys. Okay? Always. Always. If it's not for you, it won't manifest. Or it will manifest, but either not in the way you anticipated, or it will be short-lived. It will probably create more suffering than not, because it wasn't meant in the first place. However, how I perceive these things when we manifest something, it comes into our lives, we get all excited because, hey, we manifested it, but then it turns to custard, it's an opportunity to learn from it, right? There's always opportunities for growth. So if this is some type of creation you're wanting to birth, or even expression, the Seven Star Sisters card speaks to expression. Just being in the now. I talk about this all the time, and I do that because it is the one truth. The only truth we know is the now. That's it. It's the only truth. That might not make sense to people, and that's okay. But the only thing we know for sure is the now. Other than that, you know. So this has got me curious. I am wondering why all of these interesting words that have come through the notes. Yeah, as I said before, it's almost this highly sexualized energy. And so, you know, perhaps there is a collective of people who are dealing with either themselves, who are exploring their eros, their sensual energy. Nothing wrong with that at all. Funny enough, last week's post we were talking about the sacred chakra activation, which is sensuality, sexuality. So there is speak of this in the notes of like the word phallic came out. I mean, what the? But also hypothallic, not phallic, thallic. And a few other really strange words, but perhaps for a collective or a person out there who's watching this individual or thing that you're dealing with is coming into this okay, why am I hearing that word? I'm hearing the word seedy. So if that is making sense to you, resonate for you, there is a note to be careful with that. And because the notes literally say be careful, and then after that I wrote misinterpretation. So, you know, people might perceive this journey that you're on. In other words, be mindful of who you share this with. Even when it came out about people around you, people in a circle, blurry energy, the word devious came out as well. And I'm getting that headache again. So I'm going to shift from that energy. But just being mindful of who you're speaking to, about if that's the path that you're going in, if that is a direction you're exploring, just be mindful of what you're getting yourself into, because I'm feeling that if this is what you're waiting on, if this is what you're thinking is going to make you happy, for example, exploring who you are in a sensual capacity, or what life is like on that side, just be very careful of what you're getting yourself into. And I can personally say this from experience, but make sure that you are, or that you feel safe. That and I speak to that from an embodied perspective. Like, you don't just feel safe, because you can feel safe with someone that's not safe, right? For whatever reason, you could, for example, be in love with them, and it not be a very safe environment. It could be toxic without you even being aware of it. So having that embodied safety of knowing when to walk away from something, when something is no longer fulfilling you on a soul level. This is specific to people who might be dealing with a male energy, someone that how does that want to be said? The word innuendos came out, so it's like person who drops hints, who's not specifically forthcoming, could potentially have dark, as in dark complexion, or have dark hair. Yeah, it's all strange to me. Like, this is not the usual type of things that I'm tuning into, but so be it. What else do we want to do? Now, of course, I'm hearing that message in a bar. Oh my god, don't even try to sing, mate. If you can't breathe, don't even go there. So yeah, as I was singing that song, I got a little hair tug on the left hand side, which is the feminine aspect, which is a bit interesting, because before when I spoke to mind pulling, that was on the right hand side, which is the male energy anyway, not necessarily gender. Okay, bottle. What? So the energy is very chatty in the cards, but when I was meditating, there wasn't much coming out at all. Or it was just really confusing. So, okay, I've just pulled some cards for the message in the bottle. We've got a few different things. The first cards I saw was the release and the shift. I already spoke about this, that there may be a need to release whatever this is, if it's feeling unsafe, if it's feeling toxic, if it's feeling like it's holding you back somewhat, or has you in a mental lockdown or even physical lockdown in the ways of anxiety or overwhelm, frustration, anger even. So if that is the case, there is a need to release that or walk away from it, as I spoke to before. I've also got divinity and nature spirits. And it feels like when the mind is going 100 miles an hour, perhaps stepping out into nature, like I said, the sea might be completely relevant here because it's come out in 4 different cards. Actually more, but let's just speak to the 4. To connect back to divinity, to connect back to self or God or consciousness, however you phrase that. It's so clear. And just take some deep breaths while you're there. Like be in that space without making it be there for you, is what I'm saying. Not for the gram, not for the Facebook, the TikTok, whatever it is. Just be there for you to connect with yourself, with self itself, which is awareness. Self itself is awareness, is presence, is the now. And then we've got this Y card. I'd love to get into why the why. Why the why? Might put some of these back. Why the why? Might get some tarot for this one. Let's go this way. Excuse me. So why the why? There's a possibility that this position that you're in You're questioning a lot. Questioning, when is this going to happen? Why has this happened yet? Why is this thing not shown up? And the question is why? Why are you asking why? As in, that's the answer to the question. Does that make sense? Probably not. But, I might actually, for the first time, read the why card in the book. But let's get some tarot first. Why is the why here? Okay, we have Emperor, Aries energy. Why the why? Why the why? Okay, let's see. Emperor energy showing up in the why is interesting. What number? Number 31. 26. Okay. Motives, driving intention, the power of knowing why. There is great power in understanding your motives right now. The oracle asks you to be very clear about why you're asking this question. Looking for this answer, behaving in this way, and most important, making this choice. Knowing your why is the key to fulfillment. When you are clear about it, your intention will then be a magnet for miracles. Motives define the nature of your experience. When you think about something, feel it, and then act on it. This invisible why is the life force energy within the seed, which brings it to life and holds the potential for growth. Okay. The Emperor in reverse. Oh, actually, it's not in reverse. It kind of came out to the side, and so perhaps you're asking about an Aries or someone in a position of leadership. So sorry about that, guys. Position of leadership, authority. Maybe a boss. I'm getting this notion of like, if this is to do with a person, they're not clear on their, if this is about this waiting for like a literal message in a, well, not literal message in a bottle, but a message from someone. And okay, I'm just here. I'm feeling like I'm hearing this. Like, you're gonna wait till the cows come home, because this guy, he's got grey hair. And what did I say before? If you're dealing with a dark-haired person, you know, you could be dealing with a dark-haired person. This guy is not going to respond to you, possibly ever. If this is, and I'm just using guy because this is what I'm seeing, but you know, put it where it fits. If it fits, don't make it fit if it doesn't. Because the Emperor is a very, very intellectual person, but they're also very strategic, and they know what they're doing. They are the leaders of the zodiac. However, what concerns me is that it's showing up on the side. It's not fully in an energy where they have the potential to be quite manipulative or are manipulative, but it's showing up on the side. So there's something about that, not there's almost an energy of, if this is you, this is an aspect of you, do pay, like, how does this want to be said? Space and time. Giving yourself space and time. Because if this is what you're dealing with, then you may need to actually release and shift. Because this energy is a back and forth vibe. And if you're not about that, then it is time to move on. I feel what this why might be questioning and querying into, in particular to this context, is ask logical questions. Ask logical questions, as in not falling prey to necessarily the heart, especially if it's an environment where you've been waiting for a while, or you know, it's taking you, it's pulling you. This whole situation here is pulling you out of present moment. Even with this this vibe of going in completely different directions. Going in completely different directions. The other cards we got was the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. So and this is kind of actually speaking to this Emperor here, where there's if it's coming up on the side or like that, it's this energy of just not following through. So it's like, ask yourself the logical questions. Why isn't this person connected with me? Or why is this project not coming into fulfillment? There's an air of impatience with the Seven of Pentacles. You know, at the back you see all those calendars and things like that. So it's just like waiting for time to tick by. And we saw it with the other cards as well. There's this indecision of sorts. But also this energy of not wanting to see the truth. Because this Two of Swords is very different to this Two of Swords I pulled on the last post. Very different. This is a energy of not wanting to see things for what they are. Or even being, like I said, and I said fools, blinded and blurry, and then we get the actual Fool card showing up in the reverse. So that's the Fool card there, and it shows up in the reverse. So, and the Fool is the first card of the tarot. So what comes with that, if it's showing up in the shadow, is this naive energy, this naivety. It can also show up as foolishness or analysis paralysis, which I kind of spoke to at the start, right? Like this, because the Fool card is this stepping into, like in the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's this character who's about to walk off the cliff, like, I'm just trusting that everything's going to be okay, right? But this is giving of Fool's Rush In vibes of, like, yeah, as I said, foolishness. Or falling head first, like not properly sitting and working it all out. These are, by the way, some things to reflect on. The questions why. Perhaps there's even an energy of you not showing up as yourself, you know? This is pulling you completely out of, out of character, whatever this is. Is this analysis paralysis, so not being able to do anything because this is all that you can think about. This is all that, like, the only thing that's on the mind right now. What else? Oh, what the heck? It's only water. I thought I got snot on my cards. Yuck. That would not be good. What shall we finish on? Let's see. Just so many decks around me right now. Just see what else came in the... Yeah, some weird stuff. Like I saw a bowl. It was like a feeding bowl for a dog. And then I got a visual of this dog roaming around, not being able to find itself or find its bowl of food. And you know, sometimes it's just to stay in your lane or stay in one place, so that I don't know, I'm just making connections here, but the bowl will come to you, if you know what I mean. Like, you'll be fed. You will be fed. You're not going to go hungry. You're not going to get lost if you stay where you are. I did ask what, you know, for some extra messages, and the first thing that came out, and this is, you know, stay grounded. So if you want to go to the ocean and ground that way, or get into nature, stay calm, illuminate the process. So this can include like diary writing or asking questions. I literally, sorry for the handwriting, it was all scribbly. Asking questions. Where's that? Yeah, ask questions and find the light within. I also heard yellow door, and I don't know if that is just a separate message for someone, but I am seeing this with the shift, and that kind of feels like this yellow door, this portal of opportunity. But yes, stay grounded, stay calm, illuminate the process with some diary writing, some journaling, some prompting, asking questions about the situation. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. I feel like I'm getting this yield, patience, trusting that what is for you will always be for you. If this is not feeling like that, if this is feeling like a struggle city, then it might be time to get a bit reflective and figure out where you're at, because where was that going? We'll leave it there. I don't feel like that's important to say. I'm not getting that vibe. Okay, what else can we... How else can we inform this collective? I hope this makes sense. I mean, sometimes it makes sense to me, sometimes it doesn't. I just speak to whatever shows up or whatever's felt or experienced in the moment. That's a lot. Okay. Okay, so shuffling, 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 as you heard, and a card flicked out, and it was the same card. Yield, patience. And again, patience doesn't mean waiting in vain. It just means give yourself time to process things. Give yourself the space to figure yourself out. Mirror, reflection. Got tree ancestry. Perhaps this has got to do with ancestry of some, in some way, or family. Maybe you have history with this personal situation. Lightning, disruption. Yep. Let's get one more. I try to keep these short, but it never bloody happens, eh? And personal power. This came in through the last post, so do check that out. I'll make a note. Last post. That had to do with messages coming in as well, so that might help if that's the situation you're dealing with. And it had to do with similar things. It had to do with the sacral chakra. So, you know, maybe this person really turns you on. I don't know. Gets you, like I said, where's that card? Lights you up. Lights you up in a way. But maybe this is like a disruption, an interference to figure out who you are. Or how you can do that for yourself instead of expecting other people to do it for you. Like I wrote at the end, find the light within. Go within. Because when you do go within, you kind of figure out, hey, I didn't actually want that thing. Or I thought I did. But the more I get to know myself, the more I realize, well, no, I'm pretty content and happy right here. Like I don't need to go to that place or do that thing or have that person or create that. You know, I'm just speaking to all aspects here because this is a collective update. So, you know, I'm trying to kind of, it's not going to happen that way, but I'm trying to kind of express different types of ideas here. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I've gone way over time. I hope that made some sense at least, or it helped in any shape or form. Or just giving you something to reflect on. I think that overall is the goal, is being in a reflective state and being in a state of stillness is the goal in this space. So if that helped to achieve that, it's in any kind of way, or helped you think of things differently, then I've done my job and I don't have to, you know, think about it anymore. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for, if you're still here at the end after all the snotty disruptions. I do thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. My heart. Now, where is that from, Harvey? Anyway, doesn't matter. Gonna love you, leave you. Take care. Until next time. Bye.